All right. Okay. Anyways, this is news. One of the things we found is now we have follow-up on people 10, 12, 13, and occasionally even 14 years after the first surgery back in 1997. So it's pretty exciting to see people coming back. But we've learned a few things, and there are a couple of things that we want to point out as far as what you eat. Now, this is not true for everyone, but there are some foods that cause bloating, cramping, gas, and pain, and it can be really, really uncomfortable. And we want you to try some techniques of pulling them out of your diet, pulling these different kind of foods, and they may make you feel a lot better after your MGB. The one is most people understand that there's something in milk called lactose, milk sugar called lactose. And lactose is a sugar that needs a special enzyme to digest it. In other words, lactose has the need for an enzyme on the lining of your gut called lactase. And that enzyme breaks apart the lactose so it can be absorbed in the gut. And babies routinely have it, although some don't. And as we age, as we get older, the lactase enzyme goes down. And so what we have found is that lots of people as adults have trouble drinking milk. And that's because their lactase enzyme content in their gut has gone down. Now, if it changes a little bit, it's not a big deal. But if it changes a lot, and you have dairy, like cheese or milk or ice cream or cottage cheese, and you don't have any lactase, and you get a lot of lactose, you can suffer from gas and cramps and bloats and things like that. And the lactose is in lots of other foods. It's in whey proteins, it's in protein mixes, it's in candy bars, it's in all kinds of mixes, because when you add milk protein, which is contaminated with lactose, to a food, it automatically looks better because it has lower fat, more protein, and so a lot of companies add milk byproducts to their foods, and it makes it look better on the box. If you eat one of these foods that has lactose and you don't have lactase, you can get a blown up stomach, you can get cramps and pain and all kinds of problems. Now, the interesting thing is when we bypass your gut with the MGB, most of the lactase enzyme is in the part we bypass. So we make people's lactose intolerance worse after surgery. And it goes from worse to worse. So, not everyone, but most of our patients have trouble with dairy products. Interestingly, good plain yogurt without any additions, no trick yogurts with artificial sweeteners or anything, is usually well tolerated as far as a dairy product after the MGB and with lactose intolerance. So the first thing, if our patient has trouble with gas and bloating and things like that, number one, what we tell our patients is try a week or two with no lactose in your diet. If that makes you feel better, then you can add in lactose foods, but take some lactate enzyme with it. That can help quite a bit. Plus you can get, what's that?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Is that over the counter?
Yeah. Plus you can just go to the grocery store. You could buy milk, for example, that doesn't have lactose in it. And recent research, I'm a big protein fan. I liked a lot of protein. The research now is suggesting that rather than buying expensive protein at Walmart, you could just buy a quart of milk. It has pretty good protein, and especially if you get the lactose-free, it's convenient. You can get it everywhere. You can drink it anywhere. You can get it during the day at the store. So if you have trouble mixing up and doing the blender stuff and cleaning the blender, a quart of lactate milk is pretty good. So, number one, let me re-emphasize, lactose in our patients frequently causes gas and cramps and pains, so beware. But there's something else. We recently did a survey, and we found that most of our patients don't know anything about something called gluten. gluten. Anybody know about gluten? Anybody not know about gluten? Yeah. Gluten is a protein that's in wheat, and when it gets into the gut of some people, it causes severe gas, bloating, pain, nausea, cramps, weight loss, and all kinds of problems. So we did a survey of our gastric bypass patients, and close to half of my patients have noticed that bread products and wheat products can upset their stomach. So if you're having gas and problems like that, number one, take out the lactose. And number two, try what's called a gluten-free diet. Now, most of the grocery stores now have a section so that you can get breads and soups and things like that that are gluten-free. And we've had experience with several people now since we found this out. We've given them the instructions to stay off the gluten, and their gas got better. And then they inappropriately made a mistake and started some gluten that you weren't expecting, and they got real sick right after it. And then they took it away and got better. And then tried it again by mistake and got worse. Took it away and got better. Tried it again, got worse. Took it away, got better. And we've got about a dozen people. So number one, after a surgery, beware of lactose. And number two, if you have gas, beware of gluten. And number three is on our webpage this morning is fructose. It's pretty rare compared to the other two. Lactose, a quarter of the population may have lactose insufficiency, lactose intolerance. Gluten may be 10% of the population, but maybe half of our patients. Fructose intolerance is very uncommon. But again, they put high fructose corn syrup in everything. So if you're having trouble with gas and bloats and things like that, also consider trying a diet free of that high fructose corn syrup, which they put in everything. Because it can cause the same kind of problems with cramping, gas, nausea, weight loss, fatigue, and all kinds of problems like that. And so your diet then would be kind of healthy foods, fresh fruits and vegetables, gluten-free soups, things like that. And we recommend you go on that kind of, quote, clean diet for a week or two. And what we've heard from a lot of our patients is their gas gets a lot better. So try it, and I'm sorry?
Oh. Well, there was one other thing that I didn't realize was as important as it is, and that is working with a doctor. I did work with a doctor, but I ended up being iron deficient, B12 deficient, and